All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about a concept that could totally flip how you think about your money. We're breaking down how you can start managing your finances like the absolute top tier, even if you feel like you're starting from scratch.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty shocking fact. The wealthiest people on the planet, they're almost all entrepreneurs, investors, or people who've inherited wealth. But here's the real kicker. Get this. 0% of them are employees who only earn a salary. Just let that sink in for a second.
So what's the common thread here? What's the big secret? It's actually really simple. They don't just earn money, they own things. Entrepreneurs own businesses. Investors own assets. Inheritors own trusts. That's the big mindset shift right there, moving from earning to owning.
Which, of course, brings us to the most important question. Okay, that's great, but how do you actually do that? How do you make that jump from just collecting a paycheck to owning assets that build wealth for you, especially when you're working with a regular salary? Well, that's exactly what we're about to unpack.
It turns out there's a really simple but super powerful framework for this. It's called the 25-15-15-10 rule. And this is not some complicated, impossible-to-follow financial strategy. Think of it as a blueprint, a straightforward plan that literally anyone can use to start building ownership no matter what their income is.
And here's the breakdown. The magic here isn't about how much money you make. It's all about how you manage what you've got. You take your income and split it. 25% goes to growth, 15% to stability, 50% to your essentials, and a final 10% for rewards. This simple split is the core of the whole strategy. Let's start with the most important piece of this puzzle, your growth engine. This is that first 25% of your income. Now, this isn't money you spend. Oh no, this is money you put to work, money you use to buy things that grow in value over time. This is how you literally start to own your future.
To really see why this is so critical, let me tell you a quick story about two guys, Billy and Phil. On the left, you've got Billy. He starts investing just $200 a month, right when he turns 20. On the right, there's Phil. He waits a decade till he's 30, but to try and catch up, he invests more, $300 a month. So who do you think has more money when they both hit 60?
And the result? Honestly, it's staggering. Billy, the one who started earlier with less money each month, ends up with over $1.2 million. Phil, who started later but invested more, has way, way less. What's the difference? One thing, the incredible, almost magical power of compound growth. Time is your superpower.
Let's just let that sink in for a second. Billy actually invested $12,000 less of his own money over his lifetime, but ended up with nearly $600,000 more in his account. This proves, without a doubt, that the most important thing you can do is just start. Now. Even if it's small, waiting is guaranteed to cost you a fortune. Okay, so you're probably asking, where do I actually put this growth money? Well, you've got options. For most people, the best place to start is with things like index funds, which basically let you own a tiny piece of the whole stock market, and investing in yourself, in high-income skills. REITs are cool too. They let you get into real estate without having to buy a whole building. Okay, let's move to the next slice of the pie, your stability shield. This is where the next 15% of your income goes, and its job is simple but absolutely critical. It protects all the amazing progress you're making with your growth fund. Think of this as your financial bodyguard, the thing that keeps you in the game when life, decides to throw a wrench in your plans. And believe me, this isn't just theory. This comes from a very real, painful story. The person who came up with this rule bought his first car, a VW Golf, with a loan. And when the engine completely blew up, he had zero savings, no backup, no safety net. That one surprise didn't just break his car, it broke his finances. It set him back an entire year. That's why this stability fund isn't optional, it's essential. So what's the goal here? It's actually a pretty simple target. You just figure out what your absolute bare-bones monthly expenses are, rent, food, utilities. Let's say that's $1,500 a month. You multiply that by 5, boom, your target for your stability fund is $7,500.
This 5-month buffer is what makes you financially bulletproof.
And listen, where you keep this money is just as important. There are 3 simple rules, and they are absolutely non-negotiable. Number 1, you have to be able to get it fast, like within 24 hours. Number 2, it carries 0 risk. This is not investment money. Do not put it in the stock market. And 3, it should always be earning you a little something in a high-yield savings account just so inflation doesn't eat it for lunch.
All right, now we get to the other 60% of your income, the part where you actually, live your life. This is broken down into 50% for your essentials and 10% for rewards. And I want to be clear, this isn't about pinching every penny until you're miserable. No, this is about being smart and intentional with your spending.
You know, there's this great saying, wealth isn't what you see, it's what you don't see. The example given is a friend who had a flashy designer watch and looked rich, but had nothing in his bank account. Meanwhile, our guy had a basic watch, but a quietly growing investment portfolio. It's a perfect illustration of the point. Real wealth is the stuff working for you behind the scenes, not the fancy stuff you can show off.
So what's an essential? Let's be really clear. We're talking about the core stuff, your rent or mortgage, your basic transportation, groceries, and utilities. What it is not is daily takeout, that gym subscription you never use, or a shiny new car lease. Honestly, the 2 biggest levers you can pull are housing and transport. If you get those right, everything else gets a whole lot easier. So how do you stay on track and avoid that classic lifestyle creep? Try this simple 3-question filter before you buy anything that's not a true essential. First, is this just an impulse? If so, wait 7 days. Second, am I buying this for the brand name or for the actual value it provides? And third, the most important one, will this purchase truly improve my life in a meaningful way? It shifts you from just reacting to intentionally choosing.
And finally, we've got the last 10%. This is the fun part. This is your strategic, totally guilt-free reward money. Think of it like a cheat meal for your finances. It's what makes the whole plan sustainable. And the key is to spend it on things with real value, experiences that create memories, hobbies that you're passionate about, and building relationships. This isn't just spending, it's an investment in not burning out.
So let's bring it all back home. The 25, 15, 50, 10 rule. It's the whole system. 25% to your growth engine to build wealth, 15% to your stability shield to protect you, 50% for the essentials spent smartly, and 10% for guilt-free rewards that make life worth living. This isn't just a budget. It's your blueprint to go from just earning a living to truly owning your future.
So remember, the big takeaway here is that building wealth isn't about looking rich. It's about having the freedom and the security that comes from ownership. It's about owning your time, owning your decisions, and ultimately owning your own future. So the only question left to ask is, what will you own first?